written by Hi everyone, my name is Tom Last, and I am an ethical individualist. The Philosophy of Freedom was written by Rudolf Steiner over 100 years ago. It presents a science of human freedom to establish a solid foundation for ethical individualism and for our social and political life. The cover of this week's Time magazine asks, "Is truth dead?" The story discusses the ideal of truth. The wise ones at Time tell us what truth is and what it is not. In this video, I will compare the ultimate truth of the truth seekers at Time magazine with the ultimate truth of an ethical individualist.
Now let's take a look at the cover of the new edition of Time magazine. Is truth dead? Time magazine's D.C. bureau chief Michael Shearer recently interviewed President Trump, focusing primarily on whether or not, in Time's words, the president can handle the truth. It is a fascinating interview capped by the president's remarkable assertion that, quote, "I can't be doing so badly because I'm president and you're not."
I read the story because it is based on an interview with President Trump. I want to understand Trump, but he is difficult to understand because we all know he is certainly not a typical politician. Trump is an individual who does not follow the traditional norms of thought and behavior. So I looked up some principles for understanding an individual. Anyone who wants to understand an individual must get to know the innermost core of his being. Listen to his way of viewing the world and observe his actions. Learn how he defines himself and how he sees his role in the world. If you mix in your own judgment, you will never understand him. I think everyone will agree that the most difficult principle is to not mix in your own judgment. Projecting your own bias on people makes it impossible to understand them. I discovered that the Trump interview was actually a very small part of the story. I did a word count and found that 95% of the story was about judging Trump, while 5% was the Trump interview. This isn't surprising, as today's media narrative is to demonize Trump. Time tells us that their ideal of truth is factual correctness. Fact-checking is considered the keeper of truth. They accuse Trump of misleading people by making claims that are factually incorrect. In the story, Time's source for official facts is a congressional committee investigation. What I was looking for was to understand Trump's ideal of truth, because almost single-handedly he defeated the most powerful propagandists in the country. Anyone who can defeat the Bush and Clinton dynasties, the corporate media, and the money of billionaires has something to teach us. What is Trump's mysterious genius? We will need to defeat the same people if we hope to change the unsustainable course of human life on Earth. It means something when Trump says, "Hey, look, I can't be doing so badly because I'm president and you're not." Rather than anyone trying to understand the innermost core of Trump's being, he is mocked unrelentingly.
And finally, my favorite quote. When challenged on all of this, he said, "Hey, look, in the meantime, I guess I can't be doing so badly because I'm the president and you're not." What a child. What a dunce. I'm rubber and you're glue and it bounces off me and sticks on you. What kind of a third grader are you?
One reason Trump was popular enough to be elected president was his unique individuality. Social and political conformists are losing popularity among people wanting a culture of individuality. In the very first sentence that Rudolf Steiner writes in The Philosophy of Freedom, he recognizes this cultural change. The fundamental characteristic of our age is the human interest in a culture of individuality. The changes brought about by a developing culture of individuality has affected society's ideal of truth. Individuals have an increasing need to express their own truth, rather than merely accepting the truth given to them by an elite group of establishment truth givers. What is the ideal of truth for an individuality? There are two paths to truth. Some seek an outer truth in the world. Others seek an inner truth deep within their nature. It is inner truth that will today be found most useful. Outer truth is produced by our institutions and experts and crammed into the minds of students. Inner truth arises from within each individual. After searching, I did find Trump's ideal of truth in Time's story. I am a very instinctual person, but my instincts turn out to be right. Trump relied on his instincts during his rise to power and ignored the advice of everyone, from the experts to simple common sense. He relied on his own inner truth. Of course, facts are important, but how reliable are they? Trump explained that he may predict something that is factually incorrect at the time, but will be proven correct later. Or he may say something where the facts are just not yet known. Factual correctness is often wrong. Our judicial system is often wrong, even though it is based on factual correctness. Inner truth springs from within. It is intuitive. It is insightful. It is the aha moment. It is creative thinking. It produces new theories and ideas, and intuitive thinking can predict what will happen. While inner truth provides new insights, it can be wrong when it is incorrectly applied to the world. In that case, we need to find our mistake and work to improve it. An important point is that the objective facts of outer truth ignore the human being. Inner truth is deeply connected to the human being. Truth that comes to us from outside always bears the stamp of uncertainty. Each one of us is only convinced of truth when he recognizes it within his own heart. The key to understanding Trump's confidence is inner truth. We know our inner truth with absolute certainty because we produce it. Whoever is filled with doubt will be weakened. When we are confused, we are not able to set clear goals, making us hesitant to act. This brings us to the ethical individualist ideal of truth. Ethical individualism is a philosophy of life, so it is much more deeply thought out. The life of an ethical individualist is based on inner truth. The most empowering inner truth are one's highest ideals. Our greatest joy is to realize these ideals in life. The realization of one's ethical ideals in life is the highest pleasure. What it means to be an ethical individualist is to love truth. Love of truth empowers the ethical individualist to live truth. The ideal of truth is to live your truth and let others live their truth. All other principles are considered to be less important. Thanks for listening, and remember to live and let live. Give me your thoughts below. I really appreciate your comments.
To learn more about inner truth and outer truth, go to philosophy-of-freedom.com. This is the home page. Now there's tabs on the left-hand side. Go to Study Course. Here you see a link that says Compare Inner Truth with Outer Truth. This takes you to a Prezi presentation. Click the Start Prezi. And then click on the arrow below to follow the slides in order. And it is also interactive, so you can maneuver through it with the mouse. Click on any one and it comes up. And you can also go full screen.